Oh, that must be my Dragonmaid that I ordered. Who are you?
I'm Dragonmaid Landlord. I'm here for your inspection. And it looks like your heater's not working. You really should fix that. And your thermostat's broke too. We'll get it in a couple of weeks. Yeah, you're not getting your security deposit back.
Hey everybody, Joseph Rothschild here, aka MBT, back again with another episode of 10-Minute Testing. Well, we've messed with MathMech and glossed over Generaider, so now it's time to examine the last and least impressive of the Mystic Fighters archetypes. Open a new tab in incognito mode, because today's deck is Dragonmaid. So here's the list, and we could just end it here, honestly. I can't think of anything to say that display just how unmanageable these monsters are, as well as this list. Well, let's try anyway. As always, I'll give you a background about the archetype, a little bit of a discussion about what I hope the deck can do, and of course, the card by card. But first, this video is sponsored by Yu-Gi-Oh! Pro Deck, a company I am proud to represent. If you think you can build Dragonmaid better than I can, which, let's be honest, seems unlikely, you can use their user-friendly card database to find playables, their extremely intuitive deck builder to slap something together, and their wealth of strategy articles after you realize how terrible these domestic dragons are. Now let's dish some Dragonmaid. So firstly, come on. I mean, I know we all play Yu-Gi-Oh! Here, and that people in questionably ethical houses shouldn't throw accusations of weebery, but you cannot look me in the eye and tell me you don't feel, at the very least, a little disappointed that Konami thought you would buy these cards? That they figured there was no reason to make them even remotely playable, fans would shell out for these short-printed secret rares anyway? That they might be testing the waters to see the limits of this marketing strategy in preparation for a set full of unplayable Machineroid legacy support, but with tits? Anyway, these meddling maids come in two flavors, Mommy and Mommy. The small ones have on-summon effects which range from Stratos with downside to the narrowest little Armageddon I ever did see, and they tag into the large ones from hand or graveyard at the start of the battle phase, each of which has a hand trap effect, a term I'm using liberally since they're mostly spell speed 1 and far below what would be considered playable for a hand trap. After the battle phase, the big Dragoos can transform back into their blue-collar counterparts. It's a cool mechanism to depict a unique scenario, but a couple of key phrases, during the battle phase, for instance, might have clued you in that this archetype is far from competitive. Viewers, I did my best. I tried like no deck since Skyfire to find something to do with these rambunctious reptiles, but unfortunately, I came up empty-handed. If you'd like a more expansive breakdown on why exactly they're so hard to brew around, the Duel Logs has a 45-minute video that functions more like a Lovecraftian map to madness than a deck-building attempt, but does a phenomenal job of detailing the multitude of minutiae that makes the archetype unplayable. The long and the short of it is that they're normal summon reliant, only able to muster between 1 and 2 monsters on board at any given time, and even their high investment plays, the Fusion and her friends, can only manage a few monster pops with no ability to play through disruption or mount your own for the crackback. Because of this, we're taking advantage of their acceptable swarming capabilities to play a big-ass Boral Sword suite via Yazi, and we can conveniently switch the maid to defense before bouncing her for that sweet double attack. It's exceptionally boring, but it beats losing. Just barely. So with that, let's get into the card by card. For the big dragons, we're on 1 parlor, 1 kitchen, 1 laundry, and 3 nurse. These are all exceptionally searchable, so nurse represents the only one worth playing above 1, since she can be discarded, as a quick effect for some reason, to special a Dragonmaid from the hand. Next are the maids, 3 kitchen, which is effectively a Stratos, 3 parlor, basically a foolish, 3 nurse, who specials another Dragonmaid from the grave, and 3 laundry, who mills you for 3. The latter is usually shaved in pure builds of the deck, but we're playing so many Destrudo that sometimes it's nice to sack into a couple in an otherwise unplayable hand. Next is our monument to compromise, 3 Destrudo and a Mare Mare. Since we're going second, we're on 3 Phantasme to shuffle the Mare that always ends up in my opener back, 3 Pankratops, and 3 Big Rock. For spells, we're on 1 Changing, both searchable and recurable, 3 Hospitality, which summons a maid from the hand or the graveyard, 1 Foolish, 1 Terraforming, and 3 Dragon's Ravine. In the extra, we're on 2-House Dragonmaid, who comprises most of the deck's non-Boral plays, Yazi and an FA Dawn Dragster for the second Destrudo, a couple of Borals on an Appaloosa, Triple Burst, Nightmare's Unicorn, Phoenix and Cerberus, Romulus, Spheres, Link Spider, and Linkaribo. So with that, let's jump into the games. Our first match is up against... yeah, I think the only deck we play against tonight that's just as bad as ours is. Our opponent's on Rocket, and they're going first. Their linear play is exceptionally consistent, but not very difficult to beat. They're going to lead with a copy of Rocket Recharger, which will turn into a Striker Dragon, the Link that searches the field spell, the Link that searches the field spell, the Link that searches the field spell! Afterwards, they're going to activate Boot Sector Launch and Quick Launch to tag into a copy of Metal Rocket Dragon. They'll activate Striker Targeting Metal Rocket, which will destroy our copy of Phantasme, and then they'll set one card at end step, activate the Grave Effect of Metal Rocket to go into Magna Rocket. We'll activate a copy of Nurse in order to get Kitchen, and send a copy of Kitchen from deck to graveyard, effectively. We'll activate Dragon Ravine. Our opponent will Imperial Order, but we don't have any other spells. We're going to use Pankratops' effect to destroy Striker Dragon before activating Parlor's effect for Parlor, and specialing Destrudo to go into Yazi. We'll activate Yazi's effect, destroying our opponent's field spell to make Mare Mare. We'll activate that effect once, twice, 3 times before we link summon a copy of Link Spider, a copy of Nightmare Phoenix, and a copy of Linkaribo. That, of course, turns into a Boral Sword, and in battle phase we'll tag out for a copy of the Big Kitchen. We'll attack into our opponent's monster directly with Flamme, and then use Boral Sword Dragon's effect for lethal. Our second match is up against Evil Eye Unchained. Unchained's gotta be good somewhere, right? Our opponent wants to go first, which should make this more interactive than our previous game. They're going to lead with a copy of Pot of Extravagance, extremely fair card by the way, followed by a Terraforming for a copy of Domain. No, not that Domain. A normal summon to Saraziel, which will get a copy of, Basilius. Are they going to link summon? I'll activate Phantasme and get ashed. Well, I didn't think I was going to get it this matchup anyway. They'll equip a Selene, set one card, and pass it back to me. Our hand is really good. We're going to special summon a copy of Pankratops to destroy that Selene, then normal summon a copy of Parla, and activate Kitchen's effect to get Laundry on our side of the field. We'll go for Destrudo before, you guessed it, Synchro summoning a Yazi. We're going to use Yazi's effect on that set card. Thankfully, it only deals with spells and traps, so we are free to pop off. Stop me if you've seen this play before. We're going to link summon a copy of Link Spider, a copy of Nightmare Phoenix, which we will use this time. What a cycle! Before going into Linkaribo and Boral Sword Dragon. This time we'll chain Boral Sword to the effect of Parla. That means we'll be able to switch it to defense before Kitchen comes out, and we're able to attack directly for 3,000 and lethal. So the deck is clearly capable of making the most boring OTK in existence against Rogue's impeccable zero-negate boards, but let's see how it does against an archetype that has no problems on the play. It's time for Game 3, and you know what that means, a best of 3 versus meta. Our opponent's playing Sky Striker Orchist, so we should be in for it. They're going to lead with a copy of Mathematician, what else? Sending a copy of Harp Horror to the graveyard, banishing it for a copy of Nightmare, and activating Reinforcement of the Army, pitching a Phantasme for a Dark Greffer. They will then send a Wand to the graveyard, which they will use to bring back Harp Horror before link summoning both a Masquerena and a Galatée, setting a Babel, and sending a copy of Gizmek to graveyard with Nightmare's effect. Things are looking grim. We draw a Phant for turn. Funny how that seems to always happen. Our opponent's going to chain the effect of Galatée in response to our effect of Kitchen. We're going to go ahead and send a Laundry to the graveyard before we special summon a Destrudo from our hand and go into Yazi. We'll use Yazi's effect on Masquerena, prompting the activation. They'll go into Topologic Bomber. Oh, come on! Well, at the very least, we can get some juice out of this Phantasme, but we don't find much. We'll go into Mare Mare. They will, understandably, proc the effect of Topologic Bomber Dragon. We can Dino Wrestler Pankratops, but unfortunately this card is immune because of IP Masquerena. Let's go to Game 2. So it's time for Game 2, and the good news is our opponent has drawn doubles of a card that does next to nothing in the matchup. Twin Cosmic Cyclones means they're effectively starting with a 3-card hand. Though they truthfully could probably beat me with 1. They're going to lead with a copy of Mathematician, sending a copy of Harp Horror to graveyard, which they will activate to get a copy of Nightmare from deck. They'll then link summon a copy of Galatée, proccing our Phantasme. What a difference it makes in the opener. Afterwards, they'll activate the effect of Orchestra Return, sending a copy of Symbol Skeleton before they send a Wand with Nightmare, bringing back the Wand, and making Dingirsu. They will send our Phantasme, that's fine, to go to IP Masquerena, and bring back this copy of Galatée, setting 3. I'll activate Nurse at end step because I figure at least 1 is a crescendo. We'll activate Dragon Ravine, and oh come on, the one time that I draw the relevant spell you have the Cosmic Cyclone. Oh well. We'll normal summon Parla and attempt to go to battle phase, to which our opponent will go into a Nightmare Unicorn. Well, we can still beat with Laundry until we see the Widow Anchor. This is quite frustrating. Our opponent draws for turn, it's a Babel. They'll activate Babel, afterwards they'll activate the effect of Harpor for Symbol Skeleton and link summon a copy of Topologic. They'll use Symbol Skeleton to bring back Dingirsu and attach a material before using Nightmare's effect to send a copy of Gizmek to graveyard, and no way, is this lethal? Ugh. Well, we get to go into Nurse, but it doesn't matter, we're taking 3,000 regardless, 2450 and... oh, come on. So we're back with the deck and... God, that was as boring as housework. Let's do the pros and cons. First, the pros. 1. From a design perspective, it's pretty interesting, actually. The maids do all the work, then transform when it's their shift to scrap. I really appreciate decks that try to represent something with their gameplay, unlike, well, most of Yu-Gi-Oh! 2. The deck we've built is consistent, I guess. It's doing something completely foreign to the archetype, but it's pretty good at it. And 3, since clearly the Dragonmaid's current price has absolutely nothing to do with their playability, they're probably a stable investment, like war bonds. Or Bitcoin. And the cons. 1, they feel like a Trinity deck. They're far below the power level of anything that could even remotely be considered competitive unless you supplement their lineup with unfair options that would be broken anywhere. 2, they're expensive. Good help just doesn't come cheap anymore. And 3, they're non-unionized. Folks, if you're ever feeling particularly exploited by your boss or the metagame, consider joining a union, even if you're a magical house-made dragon. All in all, it's waifu bait, but unlike recent waifu bait like Sky Striker, it doesn't even have the decency to be good. If you want to be that guy at locals, go for it, but otherwise you're better off picking up the toilet cleaner yourself. So that's that. Huge thanks to my patrons, Tyler Slacks, Crispy, Sir Tachyon, Mika Reichman, Distrin, Picnic Blastit, Lucas Geardis, Adam Trevino, Second, Lieutenant Labcope, Fighting Fang Wong, Meatmoto27, Burrito Man 93, Adrian Brawl, Adam Sundquist, Isaac Jackson, Donnie Fillerup, and others. If you like my videos, please consider subscribing. And if you want to be part of the deck building process, consider following me on Twitch as well. See you next time.